I am shocked. I'm shocked. Where has this been all my life? Because when I was shooting real estate photography full time, boy, this would have saved me so much time. In today's video, we're gonna talk about the most underrated yet important shot when it comes to real estate photography, and that is the lead shot. And I'm gonna show you guys how to go from this to this using AI in a matter of minutes. And then later, we're gonna talk a little bit about portrait/headshot retouching, and huge thanks to Luminar AI for sponsoring today's video. 2 years ago, I made a video with my girl, Lizzie Pierce, on how to make money with real estate photography. Link up here if you wanna check it out. So in today's video, we're going to focus on the most important shot when it comes to real estate photography, the exterior shot of the home. When it comes to selling houses, realtors are looking for really great shots of the interiors of these homes that are going on the market. And what's often overlooked is what I like to call the lead shot or the exterior shot of the home. This shot is like the curb appeal of the listing. And you wanna make sure that shot represents the house well, but also looks really great. So where I'm from, however, Newfoundland, Canada, it was often hard to get these beautiful shots because we had a lot of foggy and gray days, which was a challenge because I had to continuously keep going back to properties. I'd spend a full day shooting the interior of a home and yet have to come back 2 or 3 times when the sky was right trying to get a shot. Not only is that a waste of time for everybody involved, but it also costs the realtor money. With real estate, we're working with a short turnaround time. The realtor will approach me, we shoot the house within like days, they want the photos within 2 or 3 days, it's quick turnaround, and then it's on the market. It all happens super quick. So a lot of times we don't have time to be visiting the site 3 or 4 times waiting for a good sky. So this is where Luminar AI comes in, and this would have saved me so much time back in the day when I was doing this full time. We want the house to look the way it looks in person. So we don't want to change the color of it. We don't want to change the shape of it. We don't want to change the landscape because we don't want to give the buyers the wrong idea of what they're getting into, but we want to present the house in the best light possible. No pun intended. The best light possible. Let's start with this shot here. I'm gonna open this up. I actually shot this at sunset. This is one of the 3 or 4 images that I shot bracketed. Would this photo be okay on a listing? Yeah, it would be okay. This application allows you to take it all the way. First thing I'm going to do is come here to light, and we're just gonna adjust the exposure a little tiny bit. I'm just gonna bring up my shadows a small bit just to pop that off a bit and drop my highlights a little. Now, if I drop my highlights down all the way, you can see a bit of sky here. That's because I shot this photo raw. We're gonna let AI deal with the sky in a minute. Let's eyedropper our trim here just to get like a nice neutral color. So it kind of warmed up the shot. It is a sunset shot, so it's okay for this shot to be a little bit warmer. I'm just gonna scroll all the way down to Sky AI. So let's see, sunset, let that process. Looks pretty cool. Try another one, mind-boggling. Let's go with dramatic sunset 4. So we're gonna play with that horizon position once again. Just gonna kind of move that around a little bit. As I was shooting this photo, the sun was on the right side of the photo. So I just wanna try to match that as close as possible, just so it looks realistic. So we're gonna come here and we're gonna just hit flip sky, and then we can just move this how we want it to. Right there looks kind of neat. Horizon blending will just kind of blend where it meets the background kind of thing. So you can kind of play with this until it looks realistic. We're gonna defocus that sky a little bit so it's not perfectly sharp. Sky temperature, I think that we could probably warm this up a little tiny bit. Sky exposure, let's bring that up a little bit as well, just so it's a little bit more, realistic. Okay, we're coming all the way back up to the top again, back into light, and we're just gonna boost the exposure of the shot a little tiny bit. We're actually gonna bring those shadows down a little bit because it's looking a little bit too fake HDR, if you will. Now we're gonna add a little bit of like fogginess to the shot. So I'm gonna come here to atmosphere. So this uses a 3D mapping technology to add depth based on the perspective of the shot. So you can kind of play with how much or how little the fog adds. I'm gonna go with a haze here, and I'm going to drop that depth down a little bit. The shot is looking kind of interesting right now. It's looking a little bit too fake, so we're just going to kind of do some color adjustments. We're gonna bring the sky exposure up a little bit. It's a little bit dark for my liking, looking a little bit too moody. But let's scroll up here to color, and we're just gonna drop the vibrance down a teeny tiny bit just so it's not so neon. We don't want it to look like jarring and fake. So this is before, this is after, so it's just kind of taking the edge off the colors. Finding that the yellow and the orange are a bit hot, so I'm gonna hit the hue drop-down menu and go saturation. And I'm just gonna drop my orange slider down. If I go all the way, it brings the orange all the way down, all the way up. It makes it really neon. So we're just gonna kind of adjust that till it looks realistic. Same with the yellow. If we take it all the way down, you can see that the cans in the light get desaturated all the way up. They're neon, so we're just gonna drop that down a little bit there too, just making little teeny tiny adjustments. And then the green is also a little bit like green. We're gonna come back up to hue. We're gonna just adjust that a little bit to make it a bit more on the yellow side. So if I go all the way here, you can see it gets more yellow. If I go all the way to the right, it gets more like deep fake green. So we're gonna bring it more towards the yellow side to have it have a little bit more of a natural look. You can actually add your own LUTs to this. I'm not a big fan of using other people's presets, always a big fan, and I always preach this, learn how to use the software yourself, learn how to color grade, post-process, grade your photos yourself from scratch, and that way you can always get your own style and your own look. Optics, I'm going to actually remove some chromatic aberration. If we zoom in here, the AI software does a really incredible job of cutting out around the trees. This would be painstaking in doing it manually. Let's zoom back out just by clicking on the photo. We can actually preview what we've done so far to the photo by coming up here and hitting this eyeball icon. So if I click and hold, we can see the before photo, and it's quite a bit different now. And in fact, I think that so far looks like a really great lead shot. We're gonna do a couple of things to tweak this a little bit. So with the color harmony, I'm just gonna bring the warmth up a little tiny bit, bring the brilliance down a little tiny bit. And then we're gonna go back. I'm all over the place, but this is how I always edit my photos. I'm up and down and all around and just kind of making adjustments as I go. So we're gonna scroll back up here and we're gonna go to vignette. We are gonna add a little bit of vignette. So I'm gonna go choose a subject and I'm gonna click on the house. And if I go amount all the way down, you can see where the vignette is. And I always like to do really extreme adjustments so I can dial in the mask and then dial the adjustment back to where I like it. Probably right there looks good. We're gonna feather that in. And then if we go inner light, it actually just brings the exposure of the center up a little tiny bit. We're gonna be very subtle on that. And now we're gonna bring the amount back down on that vignette. And so if we turn that off and on, it just gives us ever so slightly a little bit of a focus on the house. This has probably been driving you guys nuts because this has been driving me nuts the whole time. We need to fix the composition of the shot. It's sideways. So we're just gonna crop this a little tiny bit so the vertical lines on the house are straight. When you're shooting real estate, exteriors or interiors, unless you're doing an artistic shot, you really wanna make sure those vertical lines are straight. And that is the biggest tell between professional interior photos and non-professional interior photos. Let's just kind of crop this in. So if we come back up here next to our eyeball icon, there's a before and after little pull bar. And so we can kind of see where we are and where we were before. So this is a huge difference. I would consider this a decent lead shot. So the key here when you're manipulating your shots is to make it look real. You can bring it to the next level without it looking fake. So you wanna look at where your light is coming from, where your shadows are falling, and relight the scene as much as you can in post to make it work. So this software, as you can see, has a lot of really cool features, the Sky AI, the Atmosphere AI, but it also has a lot of really amazing portrait retouching features as well. Actually, I have an idea. Please hold. Can I borrow you for a headshot?
You want to take a picture of this?
And maybe clean up a little bit.
Ready for a photo shoot?
What the heck?
Hey, business up here, okay? You're only gonna do a headshot, right?
When it comes to making money with real estate photography, think beyond just the house. Most realtors might also need a new headshot, and offering this as part of your package might help get you hired. I'll make a full video on how to shoot professional headshots in the coming weeks, so let me know in the comments what you might want to see out of that. So when you're post-processing headshots, the key is not making so many adjustments where the person doesn't look like themselves. I've already processed this headshot using the same techniques as I used previously in this video. So we're just gonna talk about face AI, skin AI, and just a couple of quick portrait retouching tricks. We're gonna scroll down here to face AI. We can change the lighting on the face by increasing face light. And I'm just gonna adjust that a little tiny bit. I'm not gonna slim the face. Like I said, I don't like changing the shape of bodies and faces in any of my images, but we can enhance the eyes by adjusting some of these parameters here. So we're gonna go really subtle on these adjustments here. I'm not gonna enlarge the eyes. Again, don't wanna change the shape. Eye whitening, again, ever so slightly. You don't want this to look unrealistic. So we're going easy on the adjustments. Less is more in this scenario. Eye enhancer, this kind of just makes it really pop. Again, easy on that. And then we're gonna come down to skin AI. I just love the fact that the icon for this is like a lotion bottle. We could do a little bit of skin smoothing here. Obviously we could bring it all the way up, but again, we don't want it to look fake, so easy does it on the controls here. And then we have skin defects removal. So instead of taking out individually all the defects, you could just hit this and AI does its thing. Chris actually has a little birthmark on his nose, which I don't want to take out of the shot because that's a part of his body. It's not like a blemish that goes away after a little bit of time. So we can actually come up here and erase part of the mask here. So I'm just going to like erase here. And you can see as we erase, you can see what parts of the image is affected. So we're gonna leave that like that. So if I turn that off, you can see a couple of little blemishes and back on again. So those are a couple of tips and tricks on how to retouch your portraits. And the key to retouching portraits is, again, making it look natural, keeping them looking the way they look, but smoothing a little bit of the skin, removing some blemishes, maybe adjusting some of those dark circles, whitening teeth, whitening eyes. Those are kind of the basic parameters you're gonna be wanting to adjust for a professional headshot. This is gonna be one part of a larger series where we deep dive into real estate photography. We talked about the importance of the lead shot when it comes to real estate photography and how in a short period of time you can use Sky AI to enhance your images. We also talked a little bit about portrait retouching and how you can do some skin smoothing and blemish removal for those professional headshots so you can add those to your package and just be a bigger asset for your client. But once again, huge thanks to Luminar AI for sponsoring today's video. Been super impressed with this software so far, and if you guys want to check it out, you can click the link in my description for $10 off your purchase at checkout. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell so you get notified when we post videos. We'll see you on the next one. Peace. Changer, especially when you're doing images that have, oh my God, you just scared the shit out of me. I don't remember what I was saying. Oh yeah, okay. This is a huge game changer. I feel like a news broadcaster. I'm like, okay.